right, guys, today we're talking about graphing in 4 quadrants. I know that's a big surprise for you. So, now that we're talking about integers, okay, we're talking about negative integers. That's where we're going to start graphing in on the negative side of the number line. So, first word is quadrants, everyone. Quadrants. Oh, perfect. So, the 4 regions into which the x-axis and y-axis separate the coordinate plane. That's what your book says. All right, so in your little box off to the side, there's my altered notes. So, here's your x-axis, your y-axis, if you don't know what that is. Okay, so the top right is quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 is, of course, where you're doing all your graphing, like when you're talking about positive numbers, all positive numbers, that's where quadrant 1 is. Okay, sometimes when you graph things that we've been graphing has been like that L shape, and you have the line. That was quadrant 1. But now we're going all 4. So quadrant 1, quadrant 2 is the top left, quadrant 3 is the bottom left, quadrant 4 is the bottom right. All right, questions? You guys all have it down right? All right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. All right, go ahead and grab your book. If you haven't already done so, flip it over to page 85. All right, and then if you already have it flipped over to 85, grab your graph paper. All right, and make sure you label it with, let me get a nice colored pen for you guys to see it. I'm going to use a blue pen today. So remember, first and last name. All right, put your period, put the date. All right, and the assignment number is assignment number 12, or put your assignment number, whichever it is. And this is, of course, off of book page 85. All right, so let's just start at the very beginning here. We're going to take a look at problem number 1. All right, so problem number 1. Let's see if I can get both this and the book under there. All right, so problem number 1. So the very top section here says name the ordered pair for each point graphed at the right. All right, so now it's saying this is just where this is, of course, that's just numbering by ones. They don't have the numbers there, but each line is by 1. Okay, so we're taking a look at point Q. Point Q. So first of all, of course, find Q. Okay, so after you find Q, okay, remember, by the way, don't forget, you can even consider this step 1. Don't forget, right? Ordered pair in parentheses, x-axis, x-coordinate, y-coordinate. So here we go. Q, when it comes to the x-axis, is even with. Now remember, when we go to the right, it's positive, but when we go to the left, it's negative. So I can just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is -5 is our x. It's even with the -5 on the x-axis. I guess you can consider that step 2. All right, and then step 3, of course, once you get to that point, go up or down. In this case, we're going up to find out what it's even with on the y-axis. So it's just even with 1, 2. Positive 2 since we went up. Negatives are down, so it's positive 2. So our ordered pair is -5 and 2. All right. Yeah, just a quick one. All right, and then just put 5 lines to the left and 2 lines up and plot it and just write the steps there. Good question. Sorry. All right. Other questions, guys? Okay. Not too hard, right? Okay. So here we go. The problem I want you guys to try out is different graphs. So be careful. It is, but same kind of problem. Problem number 17. Try number 17. All right, anyone need more time on that one? All right, go ahead and turn to your neighbor, 30 seconds. Share with them what was your ordered pair. Go.
I got 5, -3.
Okay, here we go. Number 17, I'm going to move the book up a little bit here. So problem 17 wants to know point Q. Point Q, there's point Q there. Okay, so here's the question is, and it's a nice easy one. You're just giving me the answer. I'm going to go ahead and choose popsicle stick. All right, if I choose you, all you're doing is I want to know what was the ordered pair. All right, and do me a favor, when you tell me the ordered pair, describe it on what it looks like. All right, here we go. So problem number 17, what were the coordinates or the ordered pair for point Q? All right, seat 30. Three and -3? Like that? How do I write it? Is that the correct way to write it? Oh, in parentheses. Like that? Oh, okay. Up front? Oh, in the middle. Okay. All right. Just seeing. All right. Agree, disagree. Okay. All right. So we have some other answers out there. All right. So let's check it out. All right. Let's see. Seat 19. -5 and 3 in parentheses. Okay, so written like that, -5, 3. Agree, disagree with that one. What do you guys have? Okay, we have some agreements, some disagreements. All right, we have some different answers here. I think I need to take a look at this again. So number 17. All right, how about seat 32? Oh, +5? -3. In parentheses, comma in the middle. Okay, agree, disagree with that. +5, -3. Okay. All right. Most agreements on that. Let's check this out. Okay, you have to remember, all right, the very first integer, meaning it's the x-axis. So you have to now, and we're going to get some practice on this. When you go to the right, this is the normal number line, right? Just like the one in our class. When you go to the right, you're going positive because you're starting at the origin. Remember, the origin is 0. So when you're going right on a normal number line, it's getting to positive numbers. When you're going left, it's negative, right? So the very first one, since Q is to our right, we're going right. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, it would be +5, right? Now, the y-axis, this is something that might be new for some of us. The y-axis is a vertical number line, but think of it as almost like, if any of you realize, sea level. Okay, 0, or the origin is sea level. You go up in altitude, it becomes positive. You're 3,000. You go camping. 3,000 feet above sea level. All right, but you go down, then that's where you talk about integers. That's where the negatives are. So on the y-axis, you're talking negative. So I went over to the +5, but now to get to Q, I'm going down. Right, 1, 2, 3. It's at the -3. So that's why, of course, this is +5, -3. Okay. Questions, those of you that have questions.
When you're writing it for the positive numbers, do you want to strike the positives?
Nah, you don't have to. I actually messed up and put a negative there. That's why I didn't. I mean, that would still be correct, but we don't have to write the little positive there. So if you do, you won't get it wrong. But if you don't, it's not a big deal. It'd be correct. Okay. All right, guys. Other questions? We're okay? Okay. So here we go. Let's stay, of course, on page 85. Let's go down to problem 21. Problem 21. I'm actually going to fold my paper and put it on the book since we can fit it under here. But here we go. So problem 21. Maybe I'll do this instead. So the directions here, it says graph and label each point on a coordinate plane. But don't forget, name the quadrant in which each point is located. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a look. Now, because this is like one of our previous homeworks, because I'm going to let you use the same graph for all these. Because if you look, all of them have different letters to them so that you can just make sure you label them when you do it. Okay? I'm going to take a look and see what my range is, meaning what's the largest number. So the ones with the largest absolute value. So here's a positive 6. There's a negative 6, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to just label them on. I'm going to label to the 6, positive and negative 6 on both. So here we go. I'll come down a little bit. We're starting with 21. So let me go ahead and I'm going to start on the y-axis here. So I go. Let's say this is 6. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's where my x-axis is going to be, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I'll go over it a little bit to. All right, and then x-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go over it a little bit and go on the negative side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, just thinking strategy-wise here. Okay, so here we go. So on number 21, here's what you can do. All right, since I'm going to use this graph, maybe I do this. It's up to you, but this is one way you can do it. You could set your graph like this and then maybe just label the problems down here, because on those problems, even though you're going to graph it here and label it, we're going to put the quadrant next to the letter. Okay, or, I'm sorry, next to the number. So 21, for example, is at -2, 3. So meaning, remember, x is -2. So start at the origin. I'm going left because it's at the -2. So left, 1, 2. And then, of course, the y is +3. So from here, it's positive. I go up, 1, 2, 3. And I graph my point, meaning make a dot at that coordinate there. And then do not, I guess if you say that's step 1, right? Step 2 is make sure you label that it is the y. If you don't label it, you'll end up getting it wrong, because we have to correct it. I need to know which is which there. So there's point y. And then step 3, so there's 3 steps on this thing. All right, put the dot, put the letter, okay, capital letter for the point. And then, of course, it's asking about the quadrant, all right? So if I take a look, this is always quadrant 1. You loop counterclockwise, so quadrant 1, quadrant 2. Okay, questions about that one? Okay, sometimes we'll do this, okay, especially if they're related. Let's take a look. Before I let you try one, I want to look at problem 27. All right, 27. So I start at the origin. The x is 0, meaning I do not go right or left. Now be careful on these, because y is -4. So many of us, once we start graphing and get into a rhythm, we'll automatically go left, because that's always our first movement, right or left. But remember, if that x is 0, there's no movement. The y now means I'm going down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I plot my point. I label it with the R. Now, here's the main reason why I wanted to do this, is asking which quadrant is it in. So, guys, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the issue is it's on an axis. It's on the y-axis. So here's what your answer is. It's a none. Because it lies on an axis, it's not in any of the quadrants. It doesn't lie in any of the quadrants. Okay. Any questions? I'm gonna have you guys try one. Okay. Hopefully you guys have graphed it already. So or not graphing the point, but you've made your graph. Coordinate plane, I should say. All right, here's the problem I want you to do. Problem 31. Try that out. 31. Go. All right. How many of you need more time? We're okay. All right. 30 seconds. Go ahead and turn to your neighbor. Definitely, of course, remember, talk about the three. Make sure that the point's in the right spot, so you'll probably have to show them. Second, make sure they've labeled it with a capital letter. And third, make sure they have the right quadrant. All right. 30 seconds. Go. Okay, here we go. I'm actually just watch, make sure that you've gotten this. So 31 is 5 and negative 3. So remember, I'm starting at the origin. X is first, so I go to the positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went right 5 times. The y-axis is even with the negative 3. So from here, I go down negative 1, 2, 3. Plot my point. It's labeled with a K. And that, of course, is in, remember, 1, 2, 3, that is in quadrant 4. And, oops, guys, quadrants are always labeled with Roman numerals. So if you don't know, that's 2, obviously. 4 is IV, okay? 1 is just a capital I. And then, so it's pretty easy. 1, 2, and then 3 is just 3. And 4 is with an I and a V. Okay, questions? Mm-hmm. Okay, guys, any other questions? All right. So that's actually it for graphing in 4 quadrants. Not a bad lesson.